Welcome to Openly Spoken, the podcast to help you show up, speak out, and be seen within your relationships, your work, and most importantly, with the relationship with yourself. In this podcast, we talk about all things self-love, relationships, sexuality, spirituality, and more. Hi, I'm your host, Celia Antonio, and I'm a women's sexuality and self-love coach, a mindfulness expert, and your cheerleader for your most grounded and expansive self-expression. You can connect with me on Instagram at self-expressedbabe, and for all of my guest episodes, there will always be links in the show notes so that you can find them online. I give my deepest thanks to you for being here and spending your precious time with me today. Now let's begin our journey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Openly Spoken, the podcast to help you show up, speak out, and be seen. My name is Celia, and I am your host and creator of Openly Spoken. Today, we're going to be talking about how to bring mindset work into the body, how to really ground in your beliefs to the level of your body so that you can actually embody these new beliefs that you are working on integrating. And the reason why this is so important is because I think there's a lot of bypassing and gaslighting happening within the mindset space. And it can be like, for some people that it works, how kind of like harsh it is. Like, some people need that kind of push, but for others, that's not very helpful. And like, we need to process some stuff. And because we're not processing stuff, we aren't able to take the right actions for whatever goal it is that we're working towards, whatever desire it is that we are trying to achieve in our life. Because at the deeper level, our body is still acting as if the past were true now, if that makes sense. And I like, for me, this, like, doing this type of work, I'm very excited to share this topic because doing this type of work, bringing mindset work to the body, was a huge shift for me personally. And it really had me question that saying that's so common in the self-development space where people say mindset is everything. Mindset is very important, but if you say that mindset is everything, you're missing what layer is actually beneath mindset, which actually is everything, which is energy. And if you're only looking at mindset and you're only doing the affirmations, doing the journaling, you're only staying up here, and that doesn't go as deep as it could if you were instead dropping into your body and feeling the feels and getting uncomfortable. And like this is like your deeper level of truth when you drop into your body. So I'm going to share how to do that, what exactly I mean. And I'll also put all of these steps together in a PDF for you. I'll link that below so that you can reference back to it and so that you can actually practice it on your own, because I want you to practice this on your own if you are listening. So the first step, I wrote down some notes today. The first step out of 5 is, I would say, the hardest step of them all. But once you are able to really feel this and really do this first step, because it might take time for some of us, then all of the other things will be much easier to do. And that first step is creating safety and trust within your own body. Creating safety and trust within your own body. So how do you do that? You create safety and trust in your own body by making space, by scheduling self-care time, self-love time first in your calendar before you're scheduling your clients. It means taking time to pause and breathe in the morning, taking time to pause and breathe in the middle of your day. Any space that you can make where you can stop and pause and like be with yourself in stillness and in silence, that is how you're going to create safety and trust in your body. And for some people, that is very difficult and very scary to do, and you might need the help of a therapist. You might need the help of a therapist to deal with what it is that comes up, because if you are someone who has a hard time slowing down and has a hard time being alone with your own thoughts, that is something that needs to be addressed, because you are giving your power away to those thoughts. And once you can be able to be with your thoughts, with your feelings, that is how your body starts to feel safe. That's how you start to trust that it's okay to feel my feelings, because a lot of the times we are conditioned to think that it's unsafe to feel our anger, think that it's unsafe to feel our sadness, think that it's unsafe to cry. We might think that going into emotions that are labeled as negative. I don't think there are any negative emotions. I don't subscribe to the like negative feelings, because all feelings are human. All feelings are, a natural part of us, and all feelings are honestly divine, and they're here to show you your deeper truth. And when we have the courage to feel these feelings, we realize like, oh, I'm good now. Like I cried for 10 minutes and I'm good now. Maybe it's longer, maybe it's shorter. But if you like allow yourself to go there, you get to a place where you're like, oh, okay. I feel a lot better. But the opposite of like avoiding the emotions that you've labeled as negative, you're then like holding that like with you wherever you go, you're just holding it. And that is just creating distortions in what you see. It'll create like you projecting things onto other people, and it's going to create so many more problems than you need, quite frankly. And I get it. I get that it is scary to feel your emotions. A very common emotion that women are often afraid to feel is anger, because women will be labeled as a bitch. And then a common emotion that men are often afraid to feel is sadness, because men are taught like that boys don't cry and all this like very unhelpful stuff. The truth is all emotions are human emotions. They need to be felt. They need to be trusted, and they're showing up for you for a reason. So do what you need to do to create that safety and trust in your body. If you need the help of a therapist, do that. And really take your time with this first step. There might be some people listening who have to stay with this first step before they can move on to the others, because the rest of the steps involve dropping into your body. And if you don't feel safe when you drop into your body, then what can happen is you might have like flashbacks of previous events that have happened to you, which is fine if you can also be present while that happens. But if you start to get lost in that memory and you start to get all, ungrounded and feel like you're downward spiraling like that is where you can re-traumatize yourself. So that's why I wanted to include this very first step of creating that safety and trust in your body. It is a necessary prerequisite that you need to feel safe in your own body before you can deepen your mindset work. And this is another reason why I am so adamant about like the entire world needs a mindfulness practice. You need some sort of practice where you are breathing with your body, where you are being with your body. And I could talk about that forever. Okay. So the second step I wrote down in my notes, I just wrote journaling on beliefs. So this is something that you're probably already doing in your belief work. And the way you get to these beliefs, in case you haven't done it already yet, is you have your desire or your goal in mind. You can journal, and I'll put this in the PDF as well. You journal out what it is that you want. Then you write down all the reasons why you want it, because that really strong reason of why is going to give you that motivation and that push to keep going when things get hard or difficult. And it might, like, your why might also surprise you. And then from there, you can imagine, like, who are you as this person? Like, if you pretend that you have this goal, you have this desire already, who is that person? Who is that man? Who is that woman? Who is that person? What are they saying? How are they dressing? What do they believe? Like, just trying that on, and maybe playing with, what does this type of person that already has the desire that you want, what does this type of person believe? And then after that, asking yourself honestly, I love how this journaling step has like all these sub-steps, but I'll include it in the PDF. It'll be linked below. Asking yourself in there, like, what beliefs do I currently hold that are coming up, that are maybe stopping me from having this thing? So as you imagine yourself as the person that has this thing, maybe some resistance comes up already. If not, you can pretend you are about to take an action. Maybe you close your eyes and you're like, okay, I'm about to take an action that will bring me towards my desire, bring me towards my goal. What's coming up? What's coming up that's stopping me? If nothing's coming up yet, then, imagine yourself, you're actually doing the action, and really take the time to like imagine the scenarios playing out. Because the thing is, your desire is a desire because it's not here yet. And because it's not here yet, I would say like 99.999% of the time, it's because you have some sort of belief that's stopping you from getting there. There's something that comes up in your inner voice that's like, nah, I can't have that. That's not for me. So what is that? And then when you discover the beliefs that come up, I would suggest for this process that I'm explaining right now to work with one at a time. So take one of your beliefs and get to the core of it. So let's say you wrote down, I'm trying to see, is there anything written down that like could be turned into a limiting belief? Oh, no. Okay, let's say you wrote down, if I started a business, it would take way too much time. Or let's actually make this self-love and relationships related, since that's what this podcast is about. Let's say your belief is all the good men out there are taken. So like, what's the point of dating? Go deeper with that. So like, what's underneath that? What else do I believe that makes this belief true? And the reason why I say to take the time to go deeper and go beneath that is because I've found something like very interesting over the years working with clients for now 3 years as a self-love coach, and then also just my own personal development practice of over 10 years. Almost every belief, you can narrow it down to, I am not enough. Almost every single one. You can narrow it down to, there's a belief that I am not enough. I don't know enough. I don't deserve it. It could even be, I am not safe, or this is not safe. But I am not enough is like the most common one that I have seen. And getting to the deep core is going to be very helpful for the next step, because you are narrowing it down to a feeling of not enoughness. And the body speaks in feelings. So all the examples I gave, you're narrowing it down to a feeling of feeling not enoughness, undeservingness, unsafety, and I don't remember the fourth one I said. But so then from there, after you've narrowed it down, next I want you to kind of take a moment to remind yourself that this is just a curious exploration. This is just a curious exploration, and it will serve you the best if you just fully accept yourself for having these beliefs. And what this will do is just kind of like soften that kind of like inner dialogue or tendency to think that because I have XYZ beliefs that I need to be fixed or like I'm broken. And that's not true. It's not true. You're a human. You're a human being who has absorbed conditioning from your environment while you were growing up. And that's it. That's not bad. It just is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just what is. It's just the truth. And so really inviting yourself to hold acceptance. And if the acceptance is hard for you, I'll invite you to ask yourself, can I accept that I'm having a hard time accepting this? Like adding an extra layer on it so that it's a little bit easier if that's what you need at the time. And so with the acceptance, also reminding yourself, so maybe the acceptance is step 3 and then the curiosity is step 4. Step 4 is just reminding yourself this is a curious exploration. You are not broken. You're just seeing what is here. What exists? What am I teasing out? And you're just doing it to learn more about yourself. You're doing it to maybe see different perspectives about yourself, about your desire, about your past, your present, your future. It's just a curious exploration. So maybe like not taking it so like super seriously and getting into that space of like, again, that space of like needing to be fixed. And that's a really common area that I have found my clients to be in, is that they get into this like perpetual state of like, I need to constantly be in a course, be like, I need to like just constantly be like, it's like they're addicted to self-development. And I really resonate with this as well. And that's why I really love supporting busy, ambitious women who have a really hard time finding that space for themselves and finding that space for their self-love. Because I've been there myself. I know how hard it is to get out of that loop. And to feel like you are maybe like missing out if you're not constantly reading a book or constantly in a course or constantly in therapy. And I just want to remind you that, you know, your body needs breaks, and taking space to not do those things, to take a little break from self-development, allows things to really resonate and land, and it allows you to feel that like everything is actually, you know, okay. As long as you are breathing, like you're good, you're alive. You opened your eyes this morning. Getting super philosophical on you guys. I love it. On you guys and gals and thems. I've been trying not to say you guys anymore. It's such a like common thing to say, but when I used to work at Cook Shop in New York City, it was a restaurant that I waitressed at in like 2018. They were in Chelsea, New York, which has like a big LGBTQIA plus community. And so we were really trained on like using inclusive language, and we were not allowed to address our table as like, hey guys. And that's been kind of like on my mind since then. And I think I'm usually really good at not saying it, but it just slipped out right now. Uh, Anyways, back to our scheduled programming. So the next step, step 5, because we made curiosity step 4. I'll just add that to my notes. Step 5 is, so now by step 5, you have taken the time to like really narrow down what is that belief so that you can get to the feeling aspect of it. You've taken that time already to have that safety in your body. You've taken that time to add extra layers of safety by cultivating that acceptance and by reminding yourself that this is just a curious exploration. And by the way, this is not like a linear step. Like maybe you got to the journaling beliefs and you got down to the core belief and you need to go back to step 1 and create more safety in your body, and that's totally fine. But now in step 5, what I invite you to do to really take this core belief down into your body, let's say the belief is I'm not enough, you would ask yourself, again, remembering this is a curious exploration, and that means that the first time you do this, especially if you are completely new to somatic work, nothing might come up. You might not feel anything just yet, but hold that acceptance to be able to allow your body to trust you so that when you come back to this practice, that maybe more feelings will come up next time, and then the next time, and then the next time. That's my favorite thing about these kind of like somatic practices, which is like a huge basis for my one-on-one work and for any of my courses and programs, is that when you're coming back to the same practice, but it's not the same practice because you have changed, or like you're feeling different things that day, or you're thinking different things that day, or you're in a different part of your cycle that day. Okay, so away from the tangent and back to step 5. Step 5, I call it shadow dance. And in shadow dance, you're going to take that core belief and first ask yourself, where do I feel this not enoughness or this unworthiness, whatever your core belief is? Where do I feel that in my body? And once you locate that, I will include, if you download the PDF below, I'll include a playlist that I like to use for this. I have a playlist called Shadow Dance, and I just shuffle it and I hit play, and the song that comes on, I'll get up and I'll use breath, like deep inhales, loud exhales, I'll sigh, and I'll move my hips a lot and just move intuitively to the music, but staying connected with that piece in the body that feels that core belief that is holding you back from your desire, and allowing that energy to express itself, to move through you, to be expressed. And I used to think, when I first started practicing this, I used to think that the shadow dance, so this is, essentially it's shadow work. I used to think that the shadow work was to release, quote unquote, negative emotions. But it's really just to feel all emotions, to make space for all emotions, because that's not something that is normal in our society for adults. Like 2-year-olds are allowed to flail themselves around on the floor in public and kick and scream and just like emote and let everything out. And adults are not given that space. And I think it's very, very powerful if you as an adult can, obviously in a safe, private space, give yourself that room to feel and to emote and let that energy move through you. And it can seem very scary, and like if you imagine yourself like being witnessed while you're doing it, it can look crazy, but I promise you it is so therapeutic and it is so helpful as long as you have the capacity to feel safe when you are connected with your body, which is why that first step that I shared with you was create the safety and the trust in your body. I cannot illustrate enough how important that first step is. Okay. So I used to think that the shadow dance was just about releasing. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But at other times, or I would say like most times, it's about being able to hold both sides of the coin. And this can be very helpful for someone who, let's say you're going through a breakup. And I actually experienced this with my last breakup in 2019 through this kind of work. You can make that space to feel your sadness, to cry, to kick, to scream. And it's not about releasing that. It's about feeling that so that you can make more space to also feel the happiness, to also feel the bliss, because it is like you're a human. It is possible for you to feel happiness and feel joy in times of grief. I promise you it is possible. We oftentimes think like when we're going through a deep grief process, we oftentimes think like, I will never be happy again. I will never recover from this. Like that I am just broken. And that's really undercutting your potential as a human being. You are able, because you are multifaceted, you are able to feel both the grief, the sadness, and the bliss and love on the other side of that coin. And both of those things feed into each other as well. And that's also why I said earlier, there's no negative emotion, and all emotions are divine and they're all here to help you. Because the more comfortable you can get with feeling that dark, quote unquote, negative side of the coin, you know, the grief, the fear, the anger, the bliss, the more comfortable you are with that, the more capacity you also ironically create to be able to feel the more light side or quote unquote positive side of the emotional spectrum. So feeling deeper love can come from going through a deep grief portal. And that's why for those of us who have gone through super emotional breakups, they can end up being a huge transformational journey that just cracks our heart open. And like, I think that's one of the most beautiful things about being human. And it's so ironic that we are told that these emotions of sadness, anger, grief are bad and negative, because the more we reject those emotions that are quote unquote bad and negative, the less capacity we have to feel the emotions that feel pleasurable. And not to be like a conspiracy theorist, but like, I wonder why we're being taught to not feel sadness, anger, and quote unquote negative emotions. I wonder why. What do you think? Okay, so you're going to do that shadow dance. And when you move from that place where you are connecting with that part of your body that you feel this core belief, I invite you to move intuitively, to allow your body to move and to really let go of like being on beat or looking good. Just move whatever is flowing through you. Make weird sounds, make weird facial expressions, and just allow yourself to emote. And then you'll do that for as long as you need or as long as you have. Like, even if you don't have that much time, let's say you're a very busy person. Let's say you're a very busy person and you don't have so much time. Doing this for just one song is much more helpful than putting it off and never doing it. And I mentioned earlier about like how we can get really surprised that if we allow ourselves to cry or be angry, we get to this point where we're like, oh, okay, I'm good now. Like sometimes it only takes 5 minutes to allow yourself to go to the depths of your emotions, because you are showing on a self-love level, you are showing yourself like, okay, this is what's true, and I'm going to feel what is true, and I'm not going to resist it. And I think that's like one of the highest one of the highest actions of self-love you can take. All right, I need to drink some water. Okay, so now step number 6, if you feel ready for it. And again, know that you can hold both sides of the coin of emotions, of the dark, of the light, of the pain, of the pleasure. Step 6 is moving into possibilities. So I'll share in the PDF link below, I'll share also a different playlist that I call Pleasure Dance. And this is to now move with the opposite belief. So if you were dancing in the shadow dance with the belief of I am not enough or I am unworthy, then with the pleasure dance, you are feeling into your body, I am worthy, I'm infinitely worthy, and really feeling and trying that on in the body level. And just really playing with that possibility of like, what if? And again, approaching it with curiosity and allowing this to be a playful exploration. And those are all of the steps. If you try this, I would really, really love to know how it helps you. I will include a link below so that you can get the PDF and the playlists, and that will put you on my email list. So then you will know how to contact me to let me know how it was for you, because I am currently taking a kind of like a big break from social media. I'm really only on my podcast, on my email list, and I'm occasionally in my Facebook Messenger. But if we're not Facebook friends yet, I probably can't see your message. It's probably stuck in my requests. Yeah, I'm really in a season of my life where I'm taking that break, and that's what's right for me right now in my body, and I am very glad that I am doing that. So, I hope that this was helpful of how to bring mindset work to your body, and I hope that you can feel for how important this really is. And if you found this helpful, please share it with a friend. I think this is a very important message that more people need to know about, because there's just way too much self-development work that just gaslights people. And like, I think it's like, there's also a lot of, within the self-development space and the entrepreneurial space, and even in the relationship space of like, this is what you do to get your soulmate. It's a lot of like action steps, like which is perfect. Like, you need to take actions to get your desires. But if internally you're not really embodying the beliefs that will help you take the inspired and aligned action to get to your goal, then it doesn't matter how many courses or coaches or books you work with, unless that coach is someone that works at a somatic level like me, shameless plug, then you won't actually feel empowered to take those steps to get the soulmate, to get the dream job, to get whatever the thing is that you desire within your life. And so please share this with a friend if you found this helpful. And I thank you for tuning in. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Openly Spoken. I know that there's an abundance of content online, so I really appreciate you giving me your ears today. If this episode shifted something for you, please share this with a friend or write us a podcast review if you're listening to this on iTunes so that more people can find this. If anything shifted for you from this episode that you want to have a conversation about, I would love to hear from you. Just send me a DM over on Instagram at selfexpressbabe, and that is in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.